Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Crafting with Holly. I wanted to pop in here. It's Friday. It's the third Friday of May, and I have just really been having so much fun sharing with you some scrapbooking layouts that I have been creating with some brand new Stampin' Up! Products that I received way back in March. So I hope that you have seen this video. It was the very first one that I shared at the beginning of May. And it is this 2-page layout. Let me just move this into view so that you can see it. And it is featuring not only the color of the year for 2024-2025, but it is the brand new Unbounded Beauty Collection. And so this was a 2-page layout that I created, just showing some hidden journaling with some previous close to my heart flip-flaps that I still had. And this was the other 2-page layout that I shared last week, and it's a really fun layout that I created for my niece and her birthday. And again, featuring this beautiful collection. So I wanted to pop in and actually share with you one last layout that I have created, and I'm actually going to make it with you in person on this video. So I'm going to go ahead and get things set up and move these out of the way. These are the products that I am using. These are the ink pads. I've got everything listed down below in the comments section. And we're using this fabulous Flowers of Beauty die that coordinates with the Flowers of Beauty stamp set. And this is a polymer stamp set. And then these were some dies that I also used, which is the Unbounded Love dies. So those have already been cut out, and we're going to get together with this really fun paper collection from the Designer Paper series, and also the pocket cards that were available in the Unbounded Beauty. So I'm going to go ahead and move this into camera. I'm going to get my stamps that I'm going to be using onto some blocks, and we will go ahead and put together the left side of this fabulous layout. So these are the pictures that I'm going to be using for this double-page layout. Lots of different pictures of my husband and I, and they are 3x3 pictures. They're just slightly under 3x3 pictures, but I just love the idea of a collage. So I'm going to be using this one for this page. I love these picture cards from Stampin' Up. They are reversible. One has like a sentiment on one side, and then one has a pattern. And I went through for this particular side of the layout, and I took not only the pocket cards and cut them up into squares. These are 3x3 squares, and then I cut them into triangles, but I also used some of the Designer Series paper to do the same thing. So I do have a guide that will walk you through how to set this all up, and we're gonna kind of put it together right now. And so you'll notice that there's a little bit of a border around here, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting this together. I'm going to speed up the video because I know you seriously do not want to sit here and watch me fiddle with this and move this all around. So I'm going to go ahead and just start assembling. The key when putting together this type of a layout is that you really need to get these triangles organized and placed exactly where you want them, and then you can start picking a corner like I did and start attaching them. And you're gonna have to adjust these as you're placing them. And you'll notice that throughout this process that I have to kind of lift and move and adjust as I'm going. And let me just tell you, geometry is not one of my favorite things, but I absolutely loved creating this layout. And so it really it forced me actually to get more comfortable using geometric shapes like triangles to create a beautiful mosaic type style layout. And so I hope that you find that really a fun challenge for yourself too, as you're creating with these beautiful papers from Stampin' Up! And these pocket cards. They were so easy to cut into 3x3 squares and then turn them and cut them onto the triangle edge. So as you can see, I've got it all done. I'm attaching the base now, and you want to have about a 1-inch border around that whole thing. And then I'm just taking the I love you card or I love us card and popping it with some foam tape And then that's going to go in the more top left quadrant of this layout. And then the picture of my husband and I will go right here next to that one and tucked in. And then I'm going to take these elements that I cut out with the dies and we're going to tuck them behind the I Love Us card. And first I want to stamp those images, and I'm getting so much better at using the Stampin' Up ink pads, and it truly is practice makes better, you guys. You will get better at them, and I'm just finding that the more I use the ink pads, the easier they are to open and close, and I'm just taking my thumb and just pulling them away from me to close the lids. So I've just stamped those beautiful flowers. I'm going to finish up with this little one. And now I'm going to take those clusters and start tucking them behind and using foam tape. And I'm just showing you the dies that I used for those images. And they cut so beautifully. And just tucking them in and staggering the colors. I just loved that combination of the mint from Close to My Heart paper and our Harbor color is just such a beautiful combination together. So I'm just showing you how I tuck those in, and then I'm applying some foam tape to those flowers and having them kind of hang over onto the pocket card, adjusting them as needed. I just decided to take the foam tape and stick it right onto the layout. And now we're going to use some of those clusters down in the bottom, and I love that tag. And it does separate, but that one happened when I cut it, it actually stayed together. So I'm just attaching that glimmer paper and then taking those beautiful flower dies and the rest of that pocket card and attaching those and just adjusting them as need be. It really truly came together so quickly once I had everything cut out. And again, just popping those images with some foam tape and adjusting them as I needed. And then I did rip that one piece off and I had to tuck it back in with a glue dot. So now we're gonna do the second page, and they are all these fabulous little squares with, again, designer series paper and pocket cards. And we're just gonna place them onto the Versamat first in the order that I want them to be. And I'm going to make each pocket card together with you, stamping and just getting all of the images stamped first, and then getting all of the decorative elements put into their respective piles. But the stamping I wanted to take care of first. And again, I'm just learning and getting so much better at lining these up. I find that if you cut the image out first and then put it either on a light or a dark background, it's a lot easier to stamp directly. And you want to get really close to the edge. As you can see from mine, as long as you're getting real close to the edge, it will line up every time. So I'm kind of hovering my head out of the way so that you don't see it, but I'm getting really close to the image as I'm stamping it. And I just love these inks. And I love how vibrant they are. They do soften down once they've had a time to dry, so just be aware of that. And I'm putting each of the stamped images into the piles that I had created. And so now we're going to go ahead and take those triangles and attach them. And I really struggled at the beginning of this because I wasn't getting them lined up, and I had to help my brain understand there's about an 1/8 of an inch border around each of those 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 bases. And then the designer series paper and the pocket cards are 3 by 3 and then cut in a diagonal. And then I also wanted to take the pictures that I had of Tom and I and line them up onto each of the squares that I wanted. And one of them is going to be a journaling box because I just realized that I was one photo short, which is fine. So I'm just going to start in the bottom left quadrant and start creating each of those squares. And then as I'm attaching these, you can see that I'm learning that I have to adjust them quite a bit at the beginning, and then eventually, as I'm putting them together, they actually come together very nicely because it's truly about 1/8 of an inch showing, and that really helps. But I love these papers. I love the patterns and the designs, and I just thought it was so fun to kind of mix and match, and you're only seeing just a smidge of them behind the photo mats, so it doesn't really matter the direction or even the patterns that you use together because you're just getting a hint of color around each of them. And then I loved taking that XOX pocket card and cutting that up so I could use those as accents, and they just work so nicely with those beautiful tags in that die from the new catalog. And again, like I said, in the description down below are all of the products that I'm using for these layouts. And I just love how everything coordinates together. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons why I was drawn to Close to My Heart all those years ago, was because everything coordinated and matched. And I'm finding that with Stampin' Up, they follow that same rule, and it just makes paper crafting so much easier, especially when you're creating scrapbook layouts with products that are traditionally made and meant for card making. So I hope that you're learning something new from a perspective of a scrapbooker, that you can take items that you would traditionally use for card making and make some gorgeous scrapbooking layouts with lots of dimension, lots of texture, and lots of color. And that title right there, I believe it says, "Here's to Another Year." That was from the pocket card, and I cut that out and used it as a perfect title for this page. And, you know, it's traditionally a birthday quote, but what a great thing to also use for celebrating a relationship. And you'll know that when I start doing my journaling, my husband and I are celebrating 33 years this year together. And these are just pictures that I've taken of us throughout probably the last 5 years. And those pockets, I was just kind of adjusting this one because I wanted it to kind of be a different combination of colors from the one on the left and right. So I had to kind of fiddle with that a little bit. And as you can see, I like that this tape is very forgiving because I finally figured out how I wanted to do it. And I struggled a little bit with that one, but in the end, it turned out really well. And again, like I said, you're only seeing a smidge of it anyway because of the photos really truly being the hero of this. And I'm just taking some glue tape, struggling a little bit with that one as well, and getting that one, and I just want it to kind of hang over on the bottom left part of that picture. Love how those came together though. And we are finishing up this last square, getting those designer series papers and pocket cards lined up, and that last picture. And then those last little bits of embellishments. And I decided that I just wanted that flower to be flat and I wasn't going to use foam tape, so I discarded that. So now I'm going to take the white base paper and I'm lining these up exactly where I want them. You're going to want, again, about an inch border around the sides. So you're going to need to kind of adjust and get those exactly where you want them. And I decided I was going to do the corners first and get those lined up at the 1 inch mark. And then I would attach the centers and the sides. So I'm just, again, getting my ruler out to make sure that it's a 1 inch border on each side. And again, you can lift these up and adjust them as needed, and you'll see that I do that quite a bit. Just getting them, I really want the corners to line up, and so that's what I'm using as my guide. And then getting that center one lined up, and then I can get those other 3 sides put together. And again, just lift them up and adjust as you need to. It's hard because I'm a very visual scrapbooker, and this really forces you to look at these lines and make sure that they're all straight. So I did kind of fuss with them and adjust them just to get them all lined up. But in the end, I'm so pleased with this. I hope that this was a really fun project for you to follow along with me. And now I'm just going to add my journaling, and I'm just taking some of our past masking tape and the ruler and the black journaling pen and just drawing some lines on here. They're not perfect, but they do the job. And I'm just quickly writing a little message about Tom and I being together for 33 years and how it's been fun traveling all over the world together. And that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this series with this beautiful Unbounded Beauty collection, and I can't wait to share something next. Remember to click that like button, comment down below, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate your continued support of this channel.